Okay, in today's video, we're going to talk about how to run a sale for a campaign that you're running, a PPC campaign. So basically, offering something like buy one, get one free, buy two, get one free, 10% off, 20% off, 30% off, what have you. How do we offer something, an incentive of some sort, to somebody who's clicking on our ads to get even more profit out of our ads that we're running? That seems like a misnomer. We're giving away part of our profit, part of our margins. I'm not ignorant. I'm not ignoring margins here. We're going to talk about how to offer something, reduce your margins, and end up with more profit from adding more top line revenue to and from your campaign. So what I've done here is I've mashed up and really compacted all of the different sales, quote unquote, incentives, discounts, offers that we've offered to people on our ads, through our website, in combination with our ads, and just basically telling you which ones work the best for me. I've been doing this for a good 10 years for clients here, hundreds of different situations, clients, different businesses, so on and so forth. And a few years before that for e-commerce sites that I ran, and I'm telling you the best of what I've learned so you can go ahead and understand a little bit about what doesn't work, why, what does work, why, and so you could get out there and do it for yourself and end up with some more actual profit from your campaigns, basically with very little effort, offering a little bit more to your audience in order to get more from them or out of them. So with all that said, I will tell you up front that your campaigns can basically make a good 50% more by offering a discount in conjunction with your campaigns as it sits right now, if you're not offering one at all or in general. Not always should you always have to offer a incentive with your campaigns, but I can tell you right off the top, generally speaking, you could generally offer at least something. I bet not the same thing all the time or for the same reasons all the time for most businesses, and end up with 50% more increase in profit on your campaigns. It just takes the desire to go and effort to go ahead and implement what I'm sharing with you here so that there's not a staleness to what you're running. If somebody sees your campaign, it looks similar to how, this is not even me reinventing anything or have reinvented anything. For many, many years, local businesses like grocery stores, so on and so forth, brick and mortar, they've lived and died by this. How do you get someone into the stores of a grocery store? You put out a flyer, you buy and insert your local newspaper, and you say you're offering a sale. So-called the sale runs, you'll have a sale one week. The next week, guess what? There's a different sale. And nobody really pins the grocery store on this. It looks like you're running something consecutively, and it's disingenuous, but for some reason when people think about these PPC campaigns and doing it, not to say that people say this directly, but I know it's in their thoughts somewhere, that this is just a normal part of business. The grocery stores have known that this is their live and die. They're going to get an extra 50% increase in profit by doing this, and this is why they do it. They have loss leaders. Sometimes, I should say most times, they don't have a discount on everything in the store. If you're talking about a grocery store, it's loss leaders or certain items there's discounts on, but it gives them something to get a bigger draw than they would have got normally, which is what this is about, these offers, adding them as some element to your overall PPC campaign strategy. So anyway, there's a lot of different things to think about when it comes to running a sale or on a product campaign that you're running. And obviously, if you offer a service, you could technically definitely apply these things to your business. To obviously like business to business services, it might obviously, cheapen the quality of your service. Now, if you're a discount provider, go ahead and these things definitely could and should work. Let's just put it that way. If you're a quality provider, yeah, that's debatable whether or not you want to do this stuff, but definitely it doesn't matter what product you're selling. This stuff works across the board. I don't care what you're selling. I've tried it on everything from clothing to fishing rods to basically supply, to do, like a mind reading, like tarot cards and stuff like that. That all said, so you sell a product, you definitely want to consider doing this. At least try it, see it for yourself that it works, and before discrediting it, because it's an easy way to make money. And if you're going to do all this work to run the campaigns, earn the money to fund the campaigns, you might as well get the most out of them, okay? So when you're thinking about this, and I could go on, for hours here, which I'm not obviously going to, about different type of campaigns that you could run for different products that I've ran, and in that, the exact situation that we were in, where you made a specific offer and how that worked and why that was distinctly different. What I'm trying to do for you here is give you something that's going to apply to everybody, so everybody has something that's pretty much guaranteed to work. You're walking away with this video with a moneymaker in hands, and then you can tweak it for your own needs. Think you should definitely, everything I give you on these videos on this channel, you should be thinking, how can I take it and spin it to my benefit and take it a bit further? Because that little bit further is going to get you a lot more extra profit than what my thing out of the box is going to give you, because I can't give everybody the best possible solution. Every business is a little bit different. Most businesses, they'll break it to you. You're not that much different than everybody else. Just because I say it works for everybody else, you can't say, no, it doesn't work for me, because that's an easy out. It's an easy way to talk yourself out of the effort to do this stuff and discredit it. That's why I say go out and try it and see it for yourself. When you're evaluating this offer, there's a whole long list of questions you got to ask yourself as you're going to decide how you're going to do it, why you're going to do it, so on and so forth. How much you're going to offer. So are you going to offer 10%, 20%, 30%, 40%? Are you going to offer buy two, get one free? Are you going to offer $100 off, but only if you spend $1,000? What is your, how much, what's basically the size or scale in which your offer is going to be? Considering, obviously, that the larger it is, the more you're cutting into your margins, the more your sales have to ultimately come up to justify it. And there's some kind of business math that you can do, like a formula. You can, if you really want to be intense about this, you run what I'm about to give you here at different points, higher, lower, and then you measure the sales and you plug that into a formula, and that tells you where your maximum profit out comes from. It's not that complicated to do. And so I would say that, if you're getting 50% more profit right out the bat, you can get out closer to 75% just by playing with the numbers a little bit. When to offer it. So is Monday the best day? Tuesday the best day? Is Sunday the best day? Is the first of the month the best day? When should it end? When should it start? Respectively, generally speaking, out of everything I could try, and if I had to pick one thing that works for most things, I can give you, right, like I mentioned, that's what I'm trying to do here for you. Starting on a Monday and ending on a Sunday is the best. Sunday is always the best day for sales because people have time to finish and have time to think about what they were going to buy and finish it, and actually have time to finish it. And then on Monday, people are trying to escape mentally. They get online, they start searching around, but they don't finish their purchases. So a lot of people think, just as a side note to that, the people that buy on Sunday, I should only advertise on Sunday. If you only advertised on Sunday, your Sundays wouldn't be near the Sundays that they are now, because people initially discover and finish their purchases on a different day. And that goes also for the first of the month. People think that, you'll see a huge surge of the first, second, third, and fourth of the month. Well, people were looking all month long. They wait till they got paid. The most people get paid on the first, and then they finish and they buy then. Obviously, people get paid on Friday, so therefore also your purchases on the weekends are going to be bigger. So for all practical purposes, that's what I found to be the best. In terms of when in the month to do it, well, I'm going to explain in a minute. Basically, you do it all month long, and there is no particular kind of best time, as long as you're starting it on a Monday and kind of ending it on a Sunday, if you will, or respectively. It's in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't matter that much, as is just having the sales out there. You'll get a little bit of a boost optimizing for the exact day that it ends. The bigger question is how long you run it and how often you run it, which getting into my next one, how long you run it. So if you run, and it depends if we're talking about going a step backwards or further here. It depends if you're talking about people who already are your customers or people that you want to be your customers, or do you sell something that has a repeat business or not. If you're talking about repeat business, if you run a promotion as I found all month, just as a secret about that, then people will wait and wait and wait, and they'll procrastinate, and at the end of the month you'll get most of the sales. So respectively, and you won't get quite as many as if the sale is shorter, but you have more of them. Same thing kind of applies if you don't have a customer yet, and you're trying to get the customer for the first time, the initial purchase, if you will, or if you're only going for initial purchase, whatever. The same thing kind of applies. The longer the sale is, the more they procrastinate. Therefore, and any time you get more procrastination, the less money you're going to make because people forget what they're going to do. So it's better to have a shorter one. With that, though, if you have a shorter sale and then you have one, it ends and then there's 2 weeks without a sale, that's not going to make up for the fact that you should have one running all the time. So if you don't have as much resources to run different sales all the time, you run for the whole month. If you want the most results, you run like one every week or one every 10 days, because it combines the fact that you now have a sale going all the time, which you're having the sale in and itself is going to be able to increase your profit 50% because of how much urgency and desire it builds in your perceived audience, and having your ad stand out as the ad people want to click on versus other people in your space in which people are considering a purchase. So that you have something running all the time, and in which when they see it, there's a super urgency built in that they know that they got to buy it now, because in 2-3 days, what have you, they are going to, the sale's going to end. They're not going to probably remember about in 2 days, and they're going to buy it then. They're not going to procrastinate. Therefore, you're going to make more sales. Respectively, as a side note to this as well, as another little tip, as I found, if you run a sale for 10 days, which is kind of the sweet spot, 7 to 10 days, in that range. A little bit different. Some businesses 7, sometimes it's 10, but almost the same there is the most ideal length of time to run a sale, okay? If you have the sale running and it's 7 days left on your sale, and you put in your ad 7 days left, and then when it gets down to 6 days, you put 6 days left, which you could do with a countdown timer ad on Google search, which you should also apply these to Google search ads, because they work marvelously there. You're also going to do it in Google Display Network and Facebook and so on and so forth. I'll get to that in a minute. Facebook, if you run an ad that has the promotion, which all this stuff applies to Facebook, you manually go in there and go from 7 to 6. Or if you're lazy, you want to general kind of get most out of the most out of this technique without having to do as much work, you say 4 days left, and when it gets down to 1 day left, you switch it to 1, and you just have a quick reminder to switch that out. That'll get more results than not having the countdown timer effect, if you will. And what you should do there. Respectively, they do a lot better if you tell them why you're having the sale. So you're having a 7-day sale for these 7 days only. There's 3 days left in the sale. This is what you're offering, and this is why you're offering, i.e., it's for Halloween. Therefore, the person's thinking, they are not full of crap, because Halloween's going to be over soon. There's no way they could really say that there's 4 days left and be lying and be having a sale like all the time, because they're saying Halloween, and they wouldn't be saying Halloween if it really wasn't short term. So you want to have always a reason why you want to have a sale. So these are all just general rules that apply to everyone kind of that sells a product in general, or low-end services, if you will. Low-end, not just have to be low quality, but lower price. So people are buying on price, i.e. Value, let's just say. That way being the value being the low price. How often? So I kind of touched on this as well. You're going to have a better result trying to get an initial customer having a sale all the time. And because you're going to build more urgency by having something that says 7 days only versus Halloween sale this month only, then you're going to want to have a sale every 7 to 10 days, but and have a different reason for a sale every 7 to 10 days. That's going to get you the most sales. if you're selling to your current customers, obviously that's not, people will catch on, your genuine repeat customers will catch on if you did that with them, so you have something a little bit different with them. And then, so there's a different question as to how often should I offer my current customers this promotion, discount, whatever I want to offer there to pull in demand. Now, there's a question, and if maybe you're thinking about it, maybe you're not, does doing this for like your customer base pull forward demand? In other words, does it look like it brings in more sales, or does it simply pull forward all the people that were going to buy and just, sucks up, and then you have a dry spell for a long time? Respectively, if you run the sale too often, that can occur, but the sweet spot I found is basically you run every 3 months, you run a promotion. Run a promotion, the next 3 months you're doing it, but you have them scheduled in. Overall, you get quite a bit more sales by doing periodically like that than none at all. And at some point you'll have the diminishing effect of that sale by actually having it too often or more often than that, as I've kind of tested it out. So respectively, for a new customer, there's none of this pull forward demand crap. If people see the ad, they decide whether they're going to buy now or I'll do it later, which they're not going to actually do it later, but they think they will. There's no malintent there. They just forget, and then you lose the sale. For people who are already customer, they're, of course, it might be like printing, where they need to buy what you have, but they also procrastinate. And the longer they procrastinate, the more likely some of your competitors might come at them with a discount and snatch them away, a loyal customer that's worth many thousands of dollars from you. And so what your goal is to actually get the reorder in a systematic fashion. So they basically, I don't need it quite yet, but I'm going to buy it because there's a sale. And then, I needed to re-up here, and I don't quite need it again, but I'm going to buy. And then also, even if they get trained to look for the sale, guess what? That actually works to your benefit here, because again, they're going to wait for the sale. They're not going to be waiting. They're not ever going to be thinking, maybe I should go with somebody else. I'm now trained, i.e. pre-programmed to buy from you in a certain fashionable way, which, that is a good thing, not a bad thing, if you think about it from that standpoint. You want to like a Skinner's pigeons, you can look that up if you want. Well, we want people to be, just basically, that's the way that they always done things, buying from you. And if you're very consistent, not with everything, including your sales, well, okay, I'll just wait until they have another sale, I'll reorder. There's no space in their head for something else to get in at that point. People are creatures of habit. You want habit in order to maximize lifetime value from a customer or customer set. What to offer? So I talked about there's different ways to offer a discount. It could be if you spend over this amount, you get this much off, or it could be this much off, or it could be a flat amount off if you can't do percentages because your margins are too small. It could be you offer free shipping. There's a lot of kind of different incentives there. Respectively, I've tested a bunch of things. People want money off. If they don't buy yet, one of the biggest reasons why they don't buy is because they don't think they can afford it, or it's expensive, or there's somebody else that can offer it cheaper. And respectively, people that think they're going to get money off, that's the bigger, most, in terms of getting people to act and respond to eliminate procrastination, which I said procrastination is the killer of your profit and your sales. To get people to delay that, to stop or to delay the procrastination for themselves and get the offer, you can offer incentives. We're going to throw in this, we're going to throw in that. That assumes the person wants that. So to cut it short, you could try some different stuff, but the tried and true is offering them some sort of financial reward for buying now versus later. And if you offer something heavy, I found that free shipping, that works actually almost as good as just a flat amount off or % off or something like that for people that do that. But free shipping for an item that ships for $5 anyway, that's not impressing anybody. Of course, you're going to be at a disadvantage not offering that, but that's because all your competitors offer it too. In other words, bottom line, you got to have something that they think that makes you unique. If it's not making you unique, it's not going to give you this big jump. Of course, you might be losing sales because you're not offering free shipping, and then it'll restore that. But when you get these big jumps in profit, it comes from seeming totally unique. And because you're totally unique, twice as many people are clicking on your ad, which means twice as many people are buying from the same exact ad spend you had before, essentially or respectively. So if you want to keep it simple, you offer a certain amount off. If you can't do that, you offer a flat amount off, or you offer a flat amount off if you spend over a certain amount. Would be the simple ones. My quick 90% of my time I go to is with the client because they work. And then how to implement. This is the last one. So I mentioned that you can run on Google search these ads. So one of the biggest secrets I have to get results is I take the search ads, and instead of we offer school supplies, we're off, October Madness 7-day flash sale. If they're typing in school supplies and I have that ad and other people don't have anything that's current in the ad like that, I get basically twice the click-through rate. I could get a little bit more than that if it says 7-day flash sale, 4 days left. If you want to go completely all the way through, reason for the sale, how long it's offered, you hit the sweet spot on the amount of time, you've added the countdown timer, you've added all the elements to it, and you stayed within the amount in which is ideal for maximizing responsiveness too as well, which I'm going to get into, but generally speaking, as I found it to be 10 to 20% off. It's big enough to get people's attention, but it's not so much that you're going to bleed too much margin off, and you're actually not going to get the peak profitability between how much you're saving on the ad spend and the increase in sales you're going to get. So I'm going to get into into that next about how much to offer specifically, why, and if you have a customer, how that's going to differ, and if you don't have a customer yet, you have something different scheduled for them in terms of offering something an incentive to maximize the amount of money you're making from these campaigns. Before I do that, just to finish up on this though, you're running on Google search ads, you're running that, and you're running for remarketing on Google Display Network. So if they see a search ad, I'm getting a benefit there with my sale like it is. At the same time, my remarketing ads update, we have an ad specifically dedicated, so you can have your other remarketing ads that have testimonials, third-party reviews pointing to them to build up trust and so on and so forth, which is its own thing. But you have a new ad that then pops up during the sale, which says you have, just as I described it, 7-day flash sale, blah, blah, blah. And then people that were already on your site you paid good money for, sometimes $5-10 a click for, you're going to get more out of them because you have this ad that shows up for them. And before they buy from somebody else, they now buy from you. That's why it works. I'm also at the same time going to be doing a Facebook ad, remarketing ad, that's going to match the Google Display ad with the same language on it. So in the search ad on Google, and the Bing search ad, and the Google Display Network ad, and the Facebook remarketing ad, they all have similar language and they all update. When I say Google Display Network, again, just to clarify, that's remarketing. And if you do first click non-remarketing on Facebook, you should have the ad say a similar thing, just like the Google search ad would for attracting a new prospect. Same thing with Google Display Network if you're getting new traffic or any other traffic source. So in other words, you basically use it everywhere, okay? So as far as the website goes, if you have most people on a homepage of an e-commerce site that there's a rotating banner up front, you can try to update that. That's one way to actually announce on your site. I feel like a better way is to have a red text hello bar that shows up at the top inch of the screen that announces the same thing. So when they click on an ad and they get to the site, they know that you're not fooling around, you're at the right place. So if they're not going to waste time searching around, and then the discount code ain't going to work at the end when they should punch it in. And with all of that, you should always have a discount code with the promotion because it makes it look more real. So in your ad it says just use, and it should be relevant to the time period, Flash 75 or whatever. So you have all that in the hello bar as they call it, or Different people call that different things. It's just the top of the screen there. That's the best way to have something that if you want the maximum benefit from everything, you have the ads, say that, and then the hello bar there at the top of the page on your website says the same thing. Respectively, if you have new customers that are going to come in that you know are going to buy and are not going to come in through PPC advertising, that hello bar, which is another reason why I like using it, can be programmed so that it only shows up if somebody's clicked on a PPC ad, because there's logic built into it. And so that's a quick way to quash any concerns there that I know you may or may not have there, that you may have there, that you don't want to offer a discount to everybody, because if people are not doing a discount, it's because of that reason. So the people that where you do need to use it, where you haven't gotten over that hump of trust or whatever, where they're on the fence about buying, this gets people off the fence. But just for the people that does need it, everybody else, they won't see anything, they won't know anything, they won't have anything. So some side things to learn there. So as I mentioned, though, was getting into this, I found that 10 to 20% off is about the sweet spot. It's not too much to where it's really dipping into our margins too much. And if you do less, 10%, it's like, who gives a crap to the user. If you have large 45+% margins, you're for sure offering 10 to 20% in terms of getting the maximum benefit out of what you do, because you have plenty of margin there. If you have less than let's say a 40% margin or less, which is most people that sell a product, I know, I get it. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to offer that 10 to 20%, but only after a certain amount of volume. So respectively, it can be 10 to 20% if you've spent over $100, so that, with all the, because you have obviously time and effort and overhead in packing the order, shipping the order, admin costs, that at a certain volume you can justify the 10 to 20%. And obviously what people do manually is they say, I was going to spend XYZ, but if I spend, instead of 75, I spend 125 now because I order a second one here, or this other item that I like, then I'm going to get the 10% off. So you're going to get sales you wouldn't otherwise, and therefore your 10 to 20%, even though you only have a 40% margin, still backs out. So that's what I would use for a workaround there. That's my go-to there, kind of. There's no set rules here. For some people, you may actually, at a 40% margin, which is pretty standard gross margin for e-commerce products, you can do without no minimum amount. But so you can just, and going back to what I said before, you should definitely test it. Test it at different amounts, find out where that peak profit comes in terms of maximum sales, minimum ad spend, and after you take out the incentive, where you're at. That's for, respectively, what I just announced here is for people who are non-customers. Okay, what you offer for customers definitely might be different. The incentives definitely could be different. Because you don't have to offer quite as much to get a reorder, as I've generally found, than getting a new customer in terms of getting the stimulating the action from the user and your audience. If you didn't know, anybody who's bought on an e-commerce site, you can create an audience just for people who bought, so that you can have one incentive for just people who bought, that once they bought, they won't see the other incentive for new prospects, and vice versa. I won't get into exactly how that's done, but it's pretty simple. You can also upload an email list of your customers and say, the initial incentive, do not show anything to these customers. It's on the sales side because I don't want them to have a discount. But with all that said, generally speaking, as I found, if you rely on a lot of repeat business, then one thing that I've seen people doing that works relatively good for this purpose or in general is they'll offer a different amount based upon where their current workflow is at or demand is at. So if there's not a lot of orders coming in, what we can do is have an ad already saved in each one of our PPC ad accounts that says the offer with a 10% discount, there's the same thing but with a 20% discount, there's the same thing with a 30% discount, so on and so forth. And based upon how badly they need orders at the time, or do they want to immediately stimulate demand, because after volume goes down to after a certain degree, then your losing money, and you will take a little bit of a loss to stimulate demand to get the volume up, then that can be a good way to do it. And so if you're busy already, then respectively what you can do is you can just have a different amount that you offer, which when you do offer it, you offer less, okay? So just a thing to kind of mix things up, and as a second thing kind of along with that, and this 10 to 20% kind of does apply if it's a current customer. Respectively, I'd start out with just offering that same 10 to 20% to customers if you're going to do it, and then you may go down or up based upon your personal situation. But just a quick note about implementation here, about how to implement, so that you also don't kind of screw this up as well, because this is not real apparent to people who aren't PPC experts. That if you have a sale ad go up, because you have a new ad, Google's algorithm that learns how to place your ads and other people's ads in the ad auctions, about, there's certain customers and you're all bidding for have your ad show up for that customer. History behind the ad and the landing page and everything else goes into what you pay and where you're going to show up and what type of people. It goes way beyond your targeting settings. They're looking at profiling the person, and based upon these 1,000 traits, if they're watching the people that buy, in other words, from you and from everybody else, and then they decide if your ad's going to show up for that person, because they're trying to provide the best experience for everybody in that way. They're not just about money like people think they are. And so you have a new sale, you technically have a new ad. It's also, so that's basically throwing a wrench in Google's system. They're saying, I don't know how to deal with this ad. And so the benefits though overall of offering the promotion and doubling your click-through rate, which is basically what you'll get with this on average, makes up for the fact that your algorithm is not going to know quite how to handle it as well. And so, but what you don't want to do is take more so than taking the existing ads you have and changing them. So you'll have a non-sale ad, basically the ads that you have running now, and you have a sale ad that'll show up. It'll turn on, because you can actually program your PPC ad accounts to turn on the sale ad for 10 days and then turn off and then put the old one back without you having to intervening once you set it up. It's pretty easy to do that. I recommend doing that if you don't have a team to really watch over it really closely. But that sale ad, even though Google doesn't know how to handle it very good at the time, you still have the lifetime history behind your ads. You're not affecting the tried and true what's going to provide the base level income for you. Some people, in other words, will just change the original ads with having the sale on it, and so you'll never have the lifetime history saved from your existing ads. And you probably have years of history on that existing ad, and to change the ad, now you're really screwing up the asset you've built for yourself. So don't change the existing ads. Have a new ad, run that ad, and when you have a new sale, don't change that same sale ad you had last time. Do a new ad. Pause it, and respectively, once you figure out a kind of a cadence that works for you, whether you're offering one every 7 to 10 days or what have you, once you've done it for a whole year to save time, and it will work just as good to run the same promotion at the same time the next year, as long as each promotion sounds related to mid-October, whatever. When you get to the next October, you can run the same sale. You'll get about the same amount of sales, assuming the macroeconomic trends are basically the demand and the economy is all the same. You get the same boost. So once you know what you get it for this, you get it next year, and then once you have a whole year's worth of sales that you've ran, you can predict, and that gave you a 50% increase of profit. You'll get it consistently from then on. You've locked that profit in, and it can all be programmed to turn on and off for years without you touching it if you actually set it up that way using the options to you in your PPC account. But you do it as different ads, and once you run it the next year, you do have history behind that ad, so you don't want to change everything every year, because frankly, people won't remember what they've seen the last year, even if they are still in market and still just dragging their feet on buying. So you can run an ad. Google knows how to run it better next year, and the next year after that, they also know how to run it better. So not only do you have something that looks super relevant for the time, but you also got something that Google knows how to handle more and more, and therefore will get better and better results from over time. But anyway, as far as the customers, I mentioned people will find it definitely disingenuous anyway if you run a sale all the time to your customers. It'll look like you're desperate. There's a few negative things that you have taking an ad that's meant just for customers, which by the way, I usually, as quick hack on there, I'll say customer appreciation sale, since I have an ad just for customers, and that will get better results if I offer something, if my promotion just for customers, and say, so I could say something like that there, versus new prospects, I'll have a different language there just for them. So that's a little hack, but I'll like I said before, I won't run it consistently. So my sweet spot with that in general, that if you want something that just applies as close to everybody as possible, every 90 days here, I'm going to run a promotion for 10 days. I think I briefly touched on that earlier. And it'll be similar to the kind of the candidates I described before, where end of year sale, all customers, all current customer loyalty sale, customer loyalty end of year sale, combining kind of the two things there. We're offering everybody an extra 10% off if you order by the end of the year. You get a huge surge of orders, and then nothing shows up till March, and then nothing shows up again till June. So you're gapping it out enough that people won't catch on that there's going to be a sale again. Most people won't. Some people definitely will. And like I said, even for the few people that do, okay, I'm not ready to buy yet, but when I do buy, I'll make sure to buy from you. I'm going to wait for a discount. But that people take that negatively. That just means they're stopping looking for anything else. You've locked that purchase in. So why don't you want that? But anyway, you have and then respectively, you can run the same things that you run 1 year, the next year's. For the most part, you may not want to do that for these ads just for the customer because you have less of them and they might remember, but you can get away with doing that too. So, and of course, the benefit you get from having multi-year history on an ad will probably outweigh the fact that a few people pick up it's the same thing you said last year, but respectively, mostly nobody, like 10% of people or less will remember what you said a year ago. So, so yeah, that's kind of the sweet spot for what I'm doing for an audience that's dedicated to getting reorders for customers that we have already, and people that we don't have customers as we want for a customer to come into our business. So you get a general idea of what works for most people, tips, tricks, the whole kind of thing there. That all said, I just want to get into some of the math here before I close this up about why and how this actually works financially for you, because you may be saying, well, that's all good, said and good, but 10, 20%, that's eating into 25, 50% of my margins here. I may not, it doesn't sound very appetizing to me. It all is about the numbers. Marketing is half math, half user psychology. You're using user psychology to get people to do something that wouldn't be willing to do. You can call it manipulation if you want. That's sales. You want to make money, you have to understand how to motivate people. And you got to understand math, because this stuff isn't clearly apparent. Your bank account don't explode. It gives you a certain double-digit improvement in your numbers, and then you have to layer on other things that like I mentioned on my other videos, on top of each other to get the huge, huge gains. No one thing generally does it for you. And you get amazing results when you layer on multiple things that other people, your competitors, aren't willing to do, on top of each other, and then you have something that just churns profit like no other afterwards. But sometimes you get lucky on some things, of course, but best is not relying on one thing, but just doing one thing, tweak it, master it, move on to the next. In terms of PPC strategy. As I mentioned, updating your Google search ads, your Google display network ads, your Facebook ads, your whatever, LinkedIn, whatever you're running. You'll get a 2x click-through rate on your ad itself just by mentioning that you have something, a discount or incentive for that user that's relevant to the time period, time sensitive, in which to motivate the user and delay and quash procrastination, pull forward that user's purchase in their mind, if you will, because ultimately they say they'll get to it, and a lot of them never will, and that's where your leak in sales comes from, a lot of your leak in sales. But anyway, yes, you're getting more people that said that they were going to order because of what I just said there. The bigger thing is the click-through rate. So if you're making $1 million a year in sales right now from your PPC, you just add this to your ads, your gross sales just goes up to 2 million. Like that. Of course you have to consider the discount, but what happens when, so you're going to automatically take an ad that made so much money and you're going to double it like magic, basically instantly once it's applied. You test it, then you keep doing it, like I said. Because of Google's quality score, Bing's quality score, Facebook's relevancy score, which is heavily based on click-through rate, now, and also your conversion rate will actually go up because people are not going to procrastinate. Therefore, you're going to get better marks with Google, Facebook, Bing on these, their quality score system that determines basically how much you're paying for a click. You double your click-through rate on your ad on Google, and it's similar on Facebook and Bing where you'll pay half or it'll take off between a third and a half of what you were paying per click on top of it. So realistically, for the same exact ad budget you had before, if you want to just boil it down or simplify this, you're not getting twice as many purchases that are possible, okay? You're getting twice as many purchases that are now at half the cost per purchase to, 2/3 the cost per purchase that you had before. So whatever profit your campaign was making, because now you're paying less for each click and you have more clicks available from the clicks that were profitable to you already, you're now getting twice as many of them. You respectively on a gross level, without considering the discounts, you have upwards of 3 times the campaign profit gross, again, without considering any margin cut or discount that you have to offer right on the top by doing this right away. So you'll get that 3x increase in gross profit for 1/3 to 1/4 of your margins that you're sacrificing. Now, what does that actually mean? Will the increase in sales pay for the decrease in margins I'm going to get? So to do some quick math here, let's say you had $1 million a year in sales, going back to that previous example I gave you. If you had $1 million a year in sales and you had $300K profit after ad spend from that $1 million in sales, hypothetically, and you may not have that margin, but let's just say, just to simplify things here, you add your sale ads, okay? Now, your gross sales go up to 2 million now because of the increase in click-through rate, and your cost per click comes down. You have, after you take, so basically, you increase the sales now, and you decrease the cost per click, even after you take out your decrease in margins, where you have about 25% of your margins are now just gone from having to offer the incentive in the first place. Instead of making $300K profit after ad spend, you're now making $450K profit after ad spend. So you have to do, and it may not be your cup of tea, but to do twice as much volume, therefore you have twice as much headaches with the fulfillment. But respectively, that math holds true pretty well. You're doing $1 million before, you're doing 2 million gross now. Your profit is only nominally bigger, 50% bigger, but it's still 50% bigger increase in profit. 300K to go to 400K once you figure in, the reduction in the cost per click you're going to get by having higher conversion rates a little bit and higher click-through rates, which is the bigger factor, and the fact that you just have more volume coming in now off of the same exact traffic source that you had before. More people are coming in. Between the increase in overall volume of sales and the reduction in the cost per click you're going to get by increasing quality scores, you're going to end up with 50% more, or 450K profit, versus the 300K profit you started with, just by adding these sales to your overall PPC scheme, campaigns, whatever you want to call it, that you had. 50% increase in profit, that's where it actually comes from, and as I pointed to at the very start of this video. So you get the general idea and gist of what it is that I'm trying to say to you here, how to run a sale or promotion for you, why you should do it. Like I said several times, you're going to have to test and tweak it for yourself. Different audiences, if you're dealing with an industrial customer versus a home goods customer, different language is going to work for different people. Flash sale might be, basically end of year sale for an industrial customer. A flash sale will be good for a home goods customer, which would be pretty much true just based upon my knowledge of what I think of these hundreds of campaigns that I've ran that I'm thinking of that are rattling around in my head. You're going to have to find the language that gets you the peak amount of profit. You may get more than a 50% increase in profit occur. This is just easy to do, this 50%. And when I do say easy, I do mean easy. You just follow what I gave you here, you pretty much get that by default. Anyway, I hope that makes sense for you. Hope you enjoyed. I have a lot of other PPC strategy videos on this channel. If you like making money and with your PPC and want to make money with your PPC, you should check those out. I have a blog at guaranteeppc.com/blog, which has step-by-step instructions on how to build campaigns the way that I build them for our clients to guarantee their results. If you like information that's a little bit done for you more so than it is here, then you should check that out. If you have any questions, concerns, or anything you think I should have covered here and didn't, leave me a comment down below. I get back to every single person that leaves me a comment or question on this channel within a day or two personally. With all that said, go out there and try it. Let us know how you did in the comments. Otherwise, what